Good morning. This is Quilt. I'm coming to you on day 3 of my mid-state trail hike in Pennsylvania. It is a little bit past 7 in the morning. I'm at the Ives Run State Recreation Area. Today I'm going to be going 11.3 miles or 18 kilometers because the Mid-State Trail uses kilometers. Right now I'm on a nice trail that they have for campground users and day users here. So far coming in, I've seen a deer and I've seen a rabbit. This trail right now is with another trail that they have for people. It's foggy, but it's in low 60s, so it's not too cold. It's going to be rainy today, which is good, so that I can get used to hiking in the rain, in the wet. So I'll show you what. See. So you can see that there's 2 markings here in the state park here. I'll be following the orange blazes, so obviously I'll be needing to go that way. When the blazes are offset like that, you go in the direction of the top one. So 5 miles to a scenic vista. I doubt that I'll be able to see anything today because it is overcast. This will be the last day that I get picked up by my family, and then tomorrow I'll be starting the solo hike where I'll be carrying all my hiking gear. Yesterday I wore my sock liners and then I ended up getting a blister on one of my toes. So today I'm going to try to hike without my sock liners and see how my feet do. But other than that, well, I also have some sore calf muscles. But other than that, I'm doing fine. Going through mud and muck and crossing some creeks that I fell in. That's the adventure so far. Alright, I don't know how to traverse this. I've gone a little over 2 miles, 2.2 miles, or 3.4 kilometers. So I don't know how to traverse this, but I do need to make note. Mile marker 309.1. This has to be taken care of for the Mid-State Trail Association. I'll do my best. Okay, so it's been almost 2 hours. I've been hiking up this mountain. Came from that direction. There's my orange blaze. And now I have to figure out where to go. And it is completely foggy. The rain has tapered off. But since the marking on the tree is directly that way, I can only assume that I go straight across this field. I am completely soaked from the knees down. I've had to cross a couple of streams. My biggest fear today is, of course, slipping and injuring myself. My biggest risk today is losing my shoe in some muck, because I've had to put my foot in some ankle deep mud and muck and water and leaves and stuff. So, alright, maybe that's a marking, I don't know. So, it's been a good day. I had a 5-hour energy, So once I took that, I felt like I could really move faster. Yeah, that's a mark. So I think I go down this way. All right. So I don't think I'm going to get any views today, but I think I'm going to just keep pressing on. And luckily tonight will be my last night in the hotel, so I'll be able to do some laundry and start fresh tomorrow. Hi, it is about 2 hours since I started. I think I've been about almost 4 miles, definitely 3. But I just want to talk about why I'm doing the Mid-State Trail. So let's go back in time. My husband Jason was a scoutmaster, and when he was looking at going to scout camps, he saw how expensive it was, like $350, $400. It was a lot of money for our scout troop. So he was thinking of alternatives, and he was with another scoutmaster that's talking about alternatives to the BSA scout camps. And the other scoutmaster said, well, you could do anything. You could do this, do that. You could hike the Appalachian Trail. And that was something that just piqued his interest. So this was like October of 2013. So the following year, he did all this research about hiking the Appalachian Trail. And in summer of 2014, our scout troop hiked the Appalachian Trail. And then the following year, so as he was preparing and researching the Appalachian Trail, let me adjust that, it got my interest. And I started getting interested in it too. The first time actually I had heard of the Appalachian Trail was when my dad was younger, and he hiked it with 2 of my brothers and a friend as their high adventure because they were scouts. And they hiked a little bit in Connecticut. So then, so going back to 2014, they hiked the Appalachian Trail. And then the following year, again, the cost of scout camp was pretty expensive, and that was a lot of money for a lot of our families. So he decided to do something separate for our scout troop, and that was do our own scout camp, and just looked at Little Pine Creek State Park here in Pennsylvania. So I suggested to him that we go and scope it out. So Memorial Day weekend of 2015, we went to Little Pine Creek State Park as a family, and it was there that I saw a sign called the Mid-State Trail, and that piqued my interest. And so I looked into it, saw it on a map. So I went from New York border down to Maryland border. Thought that was kind of cool. And so every once in a while I'd see a YouTube video about it. But for the most part, I focused on the Appalachian Trail. And for about 6 years, since 2014, I've watched hundreds of videos on YouTube, read over a dozen books about people hiking the Appalachian Trail, the Pacific Crest Trail, the Continental Divide Trail, all these long distance trails. So in the fall of last year, 2019, things weren't working out so well for me. I was kind of having a rough time with things. And so, the one thing that did make me happy was hiking. So, I took Jason on about a 5-mile hike on the Appalachian Trail on our anniversary. And I was really happy, and he said, Vermina, I think you should hike the Appalachian Trail next year. And I'd always wanted to do it. But, you know, with 4 children at home, it just wasn't feasible for me to take 6 months, leave my family and hike. However, after thinking about it, I thought I could do half of it. I had done almost all of Pennsylvania, from Boiling Springs to the Delaware Water Gap. And so I started planning. We made plane reservations, so he was going to hike with me for the first couple days. My mom was going to come and stay with our children while we went down to Georgia. We made hotel reservations, got all the gear, and then the pandemic hit. And we thought, okay, well, we'll see how this plays out. This was the beginning of March, and then a week later, 10 days later, everything was shutting down. The schools were closing, not just for 2 weeks, but indefinitely. And the Appalachian Trail Conservancy said, please don't hike because hikers could be carrying the coronavirus, spreading amongst other hikers when you stay at shelters and privies and such. And when you go into these small mountain towns, you could spread it there. And also, in these towns, as we're seeing now, this is May, that these small mountain towns were just not prepared to handle large cases of the coronavirus. So my hike was placed on hold, and I said, I can't hike while my kids are at home. However, things started, well, as everybody was, as it was happening for everybody, started to get a little stir crazy, some cabin fever, and then I looked at, well, Jason and my mom suggested, she's like, well, why don't you start hiking somewhere else instead of starting at Georgia and going to Boiling Springs, start someplace else. And then suggested, well, why don't you hike a different trail? I thought, oh, Mid-State Trail, it's remote. I wouldn't be coming across a whole lot of people. I'd still be able to go into towns. I'd be close to home, so maybe like 3.5 hours. Oh, and look at this, what I found. A register. Alright, so the Mid-State Trail continues along this Fire Tower Road. There's the orange blaze. It's been pretty well marked today, cleared. Yesterday I did have to do some bushwhacking. But I also wanted to give a word to a YouTuber called Trailbound. He had done the Mid-State Trail about 2 years ago, and he video recorded it very extensively, and so I was able to watch his videos. I will not be recording videoing the Midday Trail to the extent that he does. But if you really want to see exactly what it's like, his name is Trailbound, and so it helped me a lot in preparing to hike this. Ooh, it's dark over there. And so far this reminds me of the Horseshoe Trail, which is near my house, down near Valley Forge National Park. And so it's been easy to do so far. I'm pretty lucky that these first 3 days I only have a day pack and I get picked up. So I'm getting used to hiking every day. This is the first time I've hiked 3 days in a row. And then after this, like I said, tomorrow, my family will drop me off and they'll go home and I'll continue hiking. And the nice thing about the Mid-State Trail is that I'll have a couple times where I'll be self-camping, which means not camping at a campground or going into town, but just every couple of days I'll have that opportunity, but I'll be able to get into a campground or a town pretty often so that I'm not too far away from civilization. And like I said, watching Trailbound's videos, there are times where it's going to be rough and tough hiking up and down mountains, but then there'll be times where I'll be on a rail trail, which is just flat. Those are the old railroads that have been turned into old railroads that have been turned into trails, which will be really nice. So it's a mixture of everything. So far I've gone over 4 miles. Today, like I said, 11.3 miles. I'm doing pretty well. I did take a 5-hour energy, which is like, woo, okay, a lot of energy, and you can definitely tell the difference. And my feet are completely soaked, but it feels like wearing like water shoes, but I don't know how my feet are going to look at the end of this day. And luckily I'll be able to take them off, get dried, and wash them all. I came down this way along here. I was up on that mountain, which was kind of cool, very wet, and now I'm down here at the bottom. My feet are soaking wet. I have another half mile to Hills Creek State Park and my lunch. I'm doing pretty well, I think. Have not seen anybody, which is, I'm not surprised. I don't think anybody would be out here on this wet day. The sun is peeking through, and so I gotta turn right here. And I've seen a lot of these orange salamanders up in the woods. It's kind of cool. I have to be careful that I don't hit them or step on them. Hi, it's 12:17. I only have 2.1 more miles left to do. Right now I'm eating my lunch, pizza. I came from that direction. Let's see if you can see them. There you go. It's probably backwards, but anyway, so I came from that direction. I'm in Hills Creek State Park. It's a Saturday before Memorial Day, and so it's very busy, a lot of people. I kind of feel a little self-conscious walking around with a backpack and all my getup. And just walking through past campsites and seeing everybody like that was kind of funny. I put on my visor because the sun is starting to peek out from the clouds. I've been very happy with the trail today. It's been well marked. It's clearly defined as you're walking through the forest and stuff like that. And this is my view from my lunch spot today. I think that's pretty nice. You can hear the bullfrogs and also some road noise, I think. I'll be following the side of the lake into my pickup point in 2.1 miles. It's raining. This is the boat launch. It's kind of cool. Okay, I made it. I came from that direction. And day number 3 is over. I am completely soaked from my thighs down. My legs are wet, I'm sweaty, I'm dirty. I'm waiting for my family now. 11.3 miles I did. So multiply that by 1.6 and that's how many kilometers I did for the day. Tomorrow, when I go off by myself, I'll be going up that hill.